Hi, I'm Steve Krueger down here in my studio basement, and today I'm going to be doing something different. Now, I've got over 40 YouTube videos posted on the techniques that I've learned over the years doing washes, working in the watercolor medium. One of my goals is, and I've been painting for over 50 years in the watercolor medium. One of my goals is to pass on as many of my techniques as I can to you to make watercolor comfortable for you. Techniques that you might not be aware of. But today's going to be a little different. I'm going to be showing you what this projector can do for you, or basically what it's done for me over the years. This is the Kopykake 300XK. Go to my original video on this machine. I demonstrate the physical aspects of the machine, how to move it up, how to move it down, things like that, how you can, if you have something of detail that you want to put on your piece of watercolor paper, this is what you need. So I'll be right back. Check, 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 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, this is the main focus of this video. This painting right here, and specifically this gentleman right here in the middle of a trout stream, and he's wrestling with a pretty good sized trout in my imagination. So this is mainly what we're going to be talking about, this gentleman right here. Now, before I go any further, just a tip I wanted to pass on. As you notice, I do not have glass covering this. And for the past 25 years, I've been using this product, Mod Podge, liquid Mod Podge, spray Mod Podge. Go to my video on that, how to use Mod Podge to mount your painting onto a hard canvas board. You mount it and then you use a liquid Mod Podge, kind of like a varnish. You can even get little brush strokes. So what prompted me to do that about 25 years ago, I had a really nice painting in a art gallery, and a guy walked up and he was looking at it real close. And I'm thinking, wow, he's really interested in that painting. Well, he pulls out a comb and starts combing his hair because he was looking at the reflection in the glass. So when that happened, I did some research. I ran across how to use Mod Podge to mount and to put a cover on the painting, so I could spill a cup of coffee on this and it would run right off. So that's it. For the past 25 years, I've been using Mod Podge to get this technique. But that is a side note. We're going to get to this guy right here. So here we go. Okay, let's take a look at this picture. I did this, it's all watercolor, except for I did some black ink here. But check out the picture. Of course, the man, this is the central figure. Now, as I mentioned before, a lot of artists say, well, if you use a projector, then you're cheating. Okay, I cheated. I found this picture of this man in the middle of a trout stream, and I liked the flow of it. So I made the man bigger, I made the man smaller, I moved him over here, I moved him up, I moved him down, using the projector until I finally decided where I wanted him. I sketched in with pencil just where I wanted the mountains, where I wanted the tree. So that's what this projector is going to help you with. It'll help you lay out your picture, and of course it'll help you go ahead and trace his hat, trace all of this. And I put his hand in the water, things like that. So again, check this cloud out. I didn't want a real busy sky, but I kind of wanted a little mood. So I've got several good videos on how to do these clouds. Let me zero in on that. That's a pretty cool cloud. And let's zero in on the guy. There's a good close-up. Get the reflections. Now these rocks, I've got a video on how to do these rocks. I've got several videos on that. And one of these days, I'm going to do a video on how to do these trees. I could just lay these colors in, but if you don't take actual black India ink, and let me get a real close-up on that. See how that black India ink defines each different color, makes everything pop? And of course, then I pushed this mountain back. I didn't want that too detailed, but I wanted these rocks detailed. And this was fun, laying in the swirling water. So, okay, I'm going to go to the machine. I'm going to put this guy in the machine. I'm going to project him on here and just show you how it works. I'll be back. All right, before we close out, a friend of mine looked at this painting and he said, how the heck did you get this white line coming down into the water? And as I mentioned in my beginning segment of this video, one of my goals is to pass on as many tips as I can to you folks to make watercolor comfortable and to make it kind of exciting, showing you the things you can do to make watercolor. Oh, I always use the word pop, to make watercolor pop. Now, what would happen if that white line wasn't there? Your eye would not be able to follow down into the water. If I painted that over black, you'd lose the well, it's the filament line shining in the sun coming down. So I'll be back to show you how I did that. On a different sheet of paper, I'm going to show you how to do these lines using masking fluid. But first, this is what's called a resist. We'll let this dry. I'll come back and show you how it works once it's dried. Here are the tools you need to do these fine lines. This is what's called liquid frisket or masking fluid, and as I mentioned, it's a resist. In other words, you can paint over it, then you scrape it off, and that brings the white paper back to life. So here we go. I've got several videos on this, on how to utilize masking fluid. You never use a brush, never use a toothpick, never use a stick. Always use a straw, and I like the McDonald's straw. So I cut the straw to a point. Let me do that real quick just to show you. Get in the camera here. Oops, there we go. Okay, there's the point. You dip it into the masking fluid. And depending on how heavy you push down on the straw, the wider the line will be. But we'll just make it real narrow. That's 1, 2. Get off to the side here. Let me bring this in the camera. You can blot it up here just to get rid of a little bit. You'd have to experiment with this. So let me get this to the camera. There's your lines. That's not the best of lines. They're a little bit thick, but let's see if we can get a real thin one over here. I've still got some masking fluid on the straw. Yeah, there we go. We get that. Yeah. Okay, see how thin that line is? So the trick is you have a straight edge. You have your straw cut to a point, and you have your masking fluid. Like so. Now real quick, go to some of my videos. Well, my video on video for the beginners on where to get a Blick catalog. Let me get to the page. And here, there's where you get your masking fluid, Dick Blick catalog, page 142. And this is the most current catalog. I'll be back to show you to show you the beginning of this where I painted over those lines. Be right back. All right, I put a hairdryer to this. Hopefully it's dry enough. We're going to find out. You can use your fingernail, your finger. You can use an eraser. Let's see what happens here. Okay, see the paper, the white paper is now coming back to life. And let's get it right up here. So, see how narrow that is? And you can make it thicker. You can make it even thicker than this. So, if you're going to use masking fluid, be sure and go to, like I said, go to my previous videos. Lots of things you can do with a straw. You can cut it to a broad point, and you can lay in all sorts of masking fluid. If you dip it further into the masking fluid, this is like a quill ink pen. It will hold the masking fluid, and you can spread it around. But this is what masking fluid or liquid frisket will do for you. So we'll move on. All right, here we have the machine. This is the projector. This is the Kopykake 300XK. And what I'm going to demonstrate is I'm going to put this gentleman down on a piece of paper right here. I'm going to make it bigger, smaller, move him around just to show you what this machine can do for you. So this guy is going to be the center of attention, of course, in the painting, which I just demonstrated. He's going to be in the trout stream. And this is how I start. I figure out where I want the man, and then I build my picture around it. Now I'm doing these, this is going to be a series. I'm trying to pique your interest and just show you this machine will really expand your horizons on just what you can do in any medium. Watercolor, acrylics, pastel, whatever. If you want to do detail, use this machine. So I'll be back to demonstrate. All right. The man in the trout stream is in my Kopykake machine, and I've projected him onto just a plain piece of white paper. Now, as I mentioned, this gives you the freedom to, let's say you want to trace him and move him over. Well, not trace him, but decide where you want to put him on your paper, bigger, smaller, whatever. Then you trace him. And yes, you trace, because trying to draw him out, let's say you draw them all out and you decide, well, gee, I don't want them there, or maybe I want them a little bit bigger. Well, with this machine, that helps you decide before you start tracing whatever image you put into the machine. You determine where you want it, bigger, smaller, things like that. So now pretend this is on an expensive piece of watercolor paper. You got them all traced in and you're ready to go. Here is the image. This is I traced him onto this piece of watercolor paper. This is my detail right here, center of interest, and then I freehanded, I guess that's how you say it, the mountains back here, mountains of the trees, the water, the swirling water, all that. That's where my artistic talent came into being. Tracing, that was easy, but sometimes it's difficult if the image, whatever you want to lay on the paper, is too detailed. Then go ahead and trace. Now, let me just show you. Let's say I want to make this man bigger. Now, as I said, go to my initial video on this Kopykake machine, how to work it. So we're going to make them, let's make them real big. Okay, real big like so. Now let's make them smaller. I'm lowering the Kopykake machine and moving the lens down, and there you go. You can move the machine this way, all sorts of different ways. This machine gives you all sorts of latitude to lay in a piece of detailed whatever onto your art paper, trace it, and then do your thing, your washes, your sky, whatever you want to do. So that's it. Hope I piqued your interest on this. I'm going to have another, maybe 2 or 3 more on just what this machine can do for you, especially if you've got a commission that you've got to do. So everybody, have a wonderful day.